Where do I even start with this thing? This thing is a weapon. It's a rig. You're not allowed to say rig, people get offended, but this thing is absolutely built beautiful, and it is custom built by Lawrence. Normally I do a walk around, I say this one comes from the Blue Mountains, this one started life here. This is such a bitzer, all built by Lawrence himself. Just gonna have to start at one end and go right through it. So it is on an 80 series chassis. It does have an LS3 in there, but let's start outside. The front of the vehicle started its life as a LX BJ42. That's why you see the triple wipers. It's lost the badge. It's got a lot custom going on, but it started life as a BJ42. Now, Lawrence has turned this into an extra cab ute. So he's also needed a ute rear wall, but he doesn't like the small windows on a ute, so he's gone for the shorty glass, and then right in the center, the old school shorty that had a drop down door, he's integrated the bigger glass there, so he's just his visuals are so much nicer than the ute. Now I'm 6 foot and Lawrence is a lot taller than me, so that was the inspiration to build this cab. And then he needs it on something decent, so he goes the 80 series chassis. Now, Lawrence built this. He built it with a 1HD FT, and this guy's a V8 guy. He's a petrol guy. A lot of the Vic guys wheel hard. He's now gone and put the LS3 in there, and it's got the 6L80 automatic gearbox to marry up with it. And this guy's doing a lot of R&D. It's a lot of this stuff is on the shelf now. It's like the 80 series chassis. You can buy the adapters, you can buy the kits from McKinnon's and various other people. Lawrence used the 40 series mounts and just changed them to fit all on the 80 series chassis. Well, I'm talking about the chassis, actually underneath the vehicle, he's got one custom fuel tank at the rear, but it's still got a 40 series or the BJ42 fuel tank up the front. So this thing's also built for touring. These guys wheel hard, and double locked. It's got the compressor, the ARB locker front and rear. He's also supporting the Maxxis tires and some pretty nice rims. Up the front of the vehicle, there's so much going on. It's got the ARB style bull bar. That's not an ARB bull bar, that is custom made by Lawrence. This whole vehicle, we've got to remember, he tinkered in his shed and built it himself. So he's built this replica style bar because the 40 series one doesn't marry up to the 80 series chassis. So he's done that. He's running his worn and some king spotties up there. Fiberglass bonnet. Pretty much one of the only fiberglass parts on the car, as in the guards are all steel, and he's cut and shut, so he's got wider guards to keep it all legal, and everything comes within. Of course, the roof's custom, so another thing you can't get off the shelf, so that's fiberglass as well. Double snorkel while I'm on the outside still. Lawrence building them himself, just the whole thing. At the back, something he didn't build, he's adapted a Kmart bar to the rear of this, and that carries his spare tyre and the tray. It's all built by Lawrence. Now, he had a different tray on there which was set up for touring as well, but it was the drop style. It was way too heavy, so he's changed this, just absolutely built everything for this vehicle. Done the tray. Inside the tray, he's got it set up for the touring side of things. We've just spent a few days, Richard, myself, and a core group of Victorians and friends have spent a few days up at Double Island, and this vehicle was there on the beach, and so Lawrence has set this up. He's driven it from Victoria, he's set it up for touring, and inside just houses all his equipment, recovery equipment. It's all in sealed boxes, as you can see, max tracks and the rooftop tent up the top. Before we go and look inside, I think I should just kick it in the guts, listen to the beautiful engine, and have a look under the bonnet. Oh yeah, what a sweet note. We better turn it up. Check it out, it is a really, really nice fit. Now, they don't just, well, the engine fits in, but not everything fits around it. So I do notice the headers have been designed, it's to fit into this setup, as in the 40, and Marks do relocating alternator and relocating compressor brackets. They're all aftermarket purchased to do this setup. We have a 75 series radiator with a custom built shroud, and again he's put this in himself. He has also put this airbox in himself, and I've got to say, to the whole vehicle, what have you done, Lawrence? There's a whole tube of Sikaflex, so no water. You can see no water's going to get there when he's doing the river crossing. So well done on the Sikaflex, but otherwise she's a really beautiful fit under here. It's just gives me a stiffy. Okay, let's go for a burl in this bad boy. So what I've got to say straight away is the comfort. The room in this thing's amazing. It's definitely made for the tall guy. So comfortable, so much leg room in a ute that I'm definitely not used to. Now there's a lot of custom stuff going on in here, and the roll cage is one of it, and I said, oh, are these roll bars illegal in Victoria? And this is on Club Rego, and I found out that club cars with the letter M on them, on the number plate, modified club cars. So this one isn't a classic restoration, it's a modified car restoration, which puts it in a legal bracket to run the roll cage on the inside of this vehicle, which is really cool. Now this one has, he's tried to retain a factory look as such. So we've got aircon from its day inside, the knee freezer set up, the dash, the J07 cluster is set up in here, so it's got a real Landcruiser feel about it. There is some noticeable difference. He's even got the lights behind me are LED, and they work just how it would in its day with the Landcruiser. You open the door and the lights come on. So he's set that up so it's still got the same feel there. Now it's obvious on the floor. I'm going to look down when we're stopped. We've got switches for the bar, spotties and spotlights, and winch control, rear spotlights, all sorts of things. Now we've got the locker switches down there, and that's where we house the UHF as well. So much sand going on down here from his beach run. Behind that is the cup holders, and just a couple of cup holders. There is speakers behind me, but then there is so much room. I can't get over how mad this room is in here. And I don't know, it's not a 40 series steering wheel. It might be an 80 series steering wheel. That's a question I didn't ask. I'll tell you, I've got to behave myself here. I'm in a 80 zone along this road, and so I'll stay to it or a little bit under, but the power and the pickup of this car is just next level. It's so cool, because this thing is 3 ton, or around the 3 ton. I think it's a 2.8 or 2.9 he said, so it's one heavy vehicle. We are running the Falcon seats. We've got the Falcon seats in here, the XR6, XR8. I've harped on so many times that I don't like them in a ute. Well, this is not your average ute, so the space, they are ideal for this type of application. They're ideal for your trooper, your shorty, and extended cabs. Another thing about this one is how quiet it is. That engine has some roar. He's got quite the system running through there, and it is very I can have a conversation. I'm not yelling at the GoPro here. I'm going to pick up my daughter now. I pick up my daughter in most of these cars, so after school care at Mr. Landcruiser, so we can have a conversation in this one on the way back, which is really cool. So it's full of deadener, sound deadener. I can see it under the floor and throughout the vehicle. On the floor we've got the original 40 series vinyl, which is really cool as well. There's a few aftermarket gauges. Just now, remember this is an engine conversion. We don't have the 2H, or it would have been a 3B in here. So likes to know what's going on with these LS3, which is really, really cool. It's just got the genuine door cards. It's just, when I look forward, the dash pad, it is it's like looking at a 47. It's just the room and the roar of the engine that really, really separate this one. It's, what can I say, next level. The tacho obviously won't be running off the bell housing like they did in the diesels, so there's an aftermarket tacho in here, but he's utilised the BJ42 dash in there, so it keeps it all in its genuine spots. It's got an aftermarket stereo, no overhead console, keeping it plain and simple. There's a lot of room behind the seats and a lot of room in the back, so it doesn't require that one. This is such a pleasure. Sometimes I wish I could get up them a little bit, but it's not my car. I've got a lot of respect. Let's give it a squeak. What a pleasure. How good is that extra cab? It just makes so much more sense. He's done a great job. I don't know if I've mentioned, he's also built the side rails. He's just built the whole bloody thing himself at home with mates, done it himself. Now, I've known Lawrence for years. 2015, I flew down to an Ocker Invitational, and one of the days I got to sit in his V8 Shorty, which I believe's an LX as well, and he just builds cool cars. It's been such a pleasure having him come visit the Mr. Landcruiser yard and let me go for a squirt in it. Thanks, Lawrence. What a beautiful 4080.